This movie gets 5 bananas out of 5 according to the Stinky Monkey website. In a rare move for the Predator, I actually went out and bought this movie on DVD. For a movie buff, I have a very small collection of videos, because I rarely watch anything twice. But this movie captivated me. Last year I had to catch this one before it left the big screen. For the life of me, I can't understand any critic who downplayed this marvel. I don't know what the Beatles think or would have thought of this film, but as a fan, I think it beautifully captures the thoughts and dreams behind the music. Some scenes are more stirring than others, but the whole movie pulls you in from the very first scene and doesn't let you go for 2 hours and 11 minutes. Even the final credits are eye candy. Imagine a Jimi Hendrix-type guitarist playing while my guitar gently weeps in a smoky bar. A gospel choir singing Let It Be after a young black boy gets shot in the Detroit riots. Or an artist torn by his waning love for a woman and missing his best friend while who's fighting in Vietnam, pitting row after row of strawberries on a plain white wall while the juice leaks down in long red streaks. Perfect metaphors for the lives lost in the war. Jude, the star of the movie, is a London dock worker who comes to America looking for his long-lost father. His biological father was an American soldier in World War II who impregnated Jude's mother and then had to ship home. Jude, thinking his father is a professor at Princeton, instead finds him to be the janitor. While there, Jude becomes fast friends with Max, a poor little rich boy who wants to leave school and find himself. Together they move to a rundown apartment in Manhattan with Max's sister Lucy, and then the movie really takes off. I've seen a piss-poor film in 1978 called Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club Band. It tried to use Beatle music as a story provider. It starred Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees, and had George Burns playing Mr. Kite. Burns sang The Benefit of Mr. Kite, and you can imagine the hell that was. But here, British comedian Eddie Izzard plays Mr. Kite in a psychedelic circus, and is part Monty Python cartoon and part Yellow Submarine music video, and it mesmerizes you. Bono plays Dr. Bob, who's kind of a Timothy Leary type and sings I Am the Walrus. But it doesn't amaze you the way you think it would. He actually looks like Cheech Marin with his thick sideburns. The thing I loved about this movie is certain songs that I don't even like that much sound great in this movie, like Dear Prudence. My oral surgeon even said that. Julie Taymor directed this movie, and I wish she'd play a hand in other directors' visual effects. The dance sequence in the bowling alley is better than most musicals. She directed the Broadway version of The Lion King, and while I'm not interested in seeing my favorite cartoon reimagined, she did win tons of accolades and awards for it. I can definitely see this movie being turned into a Broadway show. But it won't have the magical scope that this film has. It can't. Even when I could predict how the next scene would play out, it still left me with goosebumps, and the very final scene stirred up the tear ducts. I stood in line behind a man in his 60s who asked for a senior discount ticket. You gotta figure this guy was a teenager when the Beatles came out. We were the only two in the theater, and I wish I didn't have to go to the men's room when it was over, because I would have loved to have stayed and asked him what he thought of it. Take the long and winding road with the Predator.